Trevor was putting away groceries when he found it. A small receipt folded at the bottom of the shopping bag, the kind you'd normally throw away without looking. But something made him pause. Maybe it was the store name he didn't recognize. Maybe it was just instinct. He unfolded it and read the single item listed. Prepaid mobile phone, $47.99. Purchased 3 days ago at a convenience store across town. A place nowhere near where his wife Rachel worked or shopped. Trevor stood there in the kitchen, bag of apples still in his hand, staring at that receipt like it was written in a foreign language. Why would Rachel need a prepaid phone? They both had perfectly good phones on their family plan. Unlimited everything. No reason to buy a burner unless you needed to hide something. He folded the receipt carefully and slipped it into his wallet. He didn't say anything to Rachel when she came downstairs 20 minutes later, freshly showered and smiling. "Did you get the almond milk?" she asked, opening the fridge. "Yeah, it's on the top shelf. You're the best. What would I do without you?" Trevor watched her pour a glass, watched her lean against the counter scrolling through her regular phone, laughing at something on the screen. She looked so normal, so innocent, like a woman who hadn't just bought a secret phone 3 days ago. That night, he couldn't sleep. He lay there staring at the ceiling while Rachel breathed steadily beside him, wondering where that phone was, wondering who she was talking to, wondering how long this had been going on. They'd been married for 7 years, together for 10. They own a house in a decent neighborhood. Both had stable jobs, talked about starting a family soon. On paper, everything looked perfect, but Trevor had felt the distance growing for months now. The way Rachel smiled didn't quite reach her eyes anymore. The way she'd started working late more often. The way she guarded her phone like it contained state secrets. He dismissed it as work stress. Rachel was a pharmaceutical sales rep, always meeting with doctors and pharmacists, always on the go. It made sense that she'd be busy, distracted, tired. But a burner phone didn't make sense. Not for work. Not for anything legitimate. The next morning, after Rachel left for work, Trevor searched the house. He started in obvious places. Her nightstand, her dresser drawers, her closet. Nothing. Then he moved to less obvious spots. Under the mattress. Behind books on shelves. In the pockets of coats she rarely wore. It took him 40 minutes to find it. Tucked inside a zippered compartment of her gym bag. Wrapped in a small towel. A cheap flip phone, the kind that looked like it was from 2005. Trevor's hands shook slightly as he opened it. It was password protected. For digits. He tried her birthday. Wrong. He tried their anniversary. Wrong. He tried the last 4 digits of her social security number, which he knew from their taxes. The phone unlocked. There were text messages. Dozens of them. All to and from a single number with no name attached. Trevor sat on the edge of their bed and started reading from the beginning. Unknown. Miss you already. Today was perfect. Rachel. I know. I can't stop thinking about it. When can I see you again? Unknown. Tomorrow? Same place. Rachel. Yes. I'll tell Trevor I have a late client meeting. Trevor felt his stomach drop. He scrolled further. Rachel. He suspects nothing. I feel bad sometimes, but then I see you and it all makes sense. Unknown. You deserve to be happy. He can't give you what I can. Rachel. I know. Soon. I just need to figure out the right time. The messages went back 2 months. 2 months of meeting up. 2 months of lies. 2 months of Rachel living a completely separate life that Trevor knew nothing about. He read message after message, each one adding another crack to something that was already breaking inside him. There were references to hotels, to afternoon meetings that were anything but professional, to a future they were planning together. One message made him stop breathing. Unknown. When are you going to tell him? We can't keep doing this forever. Rachel. I know. Just give me a little more time. I need to figure out the financial stuff first. Make sure I'm protected. She was planning to leave him, and she wanted to make sure she got her share first. Trevor put the phone back exactly where he found it, zipped the compartment, placed the gym bag back in the closet. Then he sat on the couch and stared at the wall for 30 minutes, his mind completely blank. When thought finally returned, it came with clarity. He picked up his own phone and started searching. Private investigator near me. Several results appeared. He clicked on the first one with good reviews. Maxwell Security and Investigations. Discreet, professional, licensed. He called the number. Maxwell Security, this is Frank speaking. I need to hire an investigator. My wife is having an affair. I need documentation. Frank's voice was calm, matter of fact. I can help with that. When can you come in to discuss details? Today. As soon as possible. I have an opening at 2 o'clock. I'll be there. Trevor hung up and looked at the time. It was just past 10. He called his office and told them he was taking a personal day. Then he sat in the quiet house and waited. At 2 o'clock sharp, Trevor walked into a small office in a strip mall across town. Frank Maxwell was in his 50s, gray hair, steady eyes, the kind of man who'd seen everything and wasn't shocked by anything anymore. Tell me what's going on, Frank said, gesturing to a chair. Trevor told him everything. The receipt, the burner phone, the messages, the plan to leave him after securing finances. Frank listened without interrupting, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. Do you want to try to save the marriage? Frank asked when Trevor finished. No. I want evidence for the divorce. I want to make sure she doesn't get to play the victim. I want proof of everything. Frank nodded. I can do that. I'll need some information. Her daily routine, where she works, what kind of car she drives. Photos help. And I'll need a retainer. They spent the next hour going over details. Trevor provided everything Frank asked for. When they were done, Frank walked him to the door. One more thing, Frank said. Don't confront her. Don't let on that you know anything. Act completely normal. The more comfortable she feels, the sloppier she'll get. And that's when I get the best evidence. How long will this take? Give me a week. Maybe 2. Depends on how often she's meeting him. Trevor shook Frank's hand and left. On the drive home, he felt strangely calm. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't falling apart. He was doing what needed to be done. When Rachel came home that evening, Trevor was making dinner like always. Pasta with marinara sauce, her favorite. Smells amazing, she said, dropping her bag by the door. You're spoiling me. Long day, he asked, stirring the sauce. The worst. Back-to-back meetings all afternoon. I'm exhausted. Trevor wondered which hotel she'd been at. Wondered what his name was. Wondered if she felt any guilt at all lying so easily. Go relax, he said. Dinner will be ready in 10 minutes. She kissed his cheek and headed upstairs. Trevor heard the shower start. He imagined her washing away the afternoon, erasing the evidence before sitting across from him at dinner. They ate together, talking about nothing important. Rachel told a funny story about a difficult pharmacist. Trevor laughed in all the right places. She never suspected that he knew, that he'd read every message, that he'd hired someone to follow her. She was too comfortable in her deception. That night, Rachel's burner phone buzzed while she was in the shower. Trevor heard it from the bedroom. He went to her gym bag, unzipped the compartment, and looked at the message on the screen. Unknown. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. I booked the room. Trevor took a photo of the message with his own phone and sent it to Frank. Then he put the burner phone back and went downstairs. The next day, Frank sent him a text at 2:47 p.m. Got everything. She met a man at the Riverside Hotel. They checked into room 314. I have photos and video. When do you want to review? Trevor felt his chest tighten, but his hands were steady as he typed back. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. The next morning, Trevor told Rachel he had an early dentist appointment. She barely looked up from her phone when he left. At Frank's office, Trevor sat across the desk and watched as Frank opened a folder. Before we start, Frank said, I want to warn you. These images are explicit. They're going to hurt. Are you sure you want to see them? I'm sure. Frank slid the folder across the desk. The first photo showed Rachel walking into the Riverside Hotel with a man Trevor had never seen. He was tall, dark-haired, wearing an expensive suit. They were laughing about something. The second photo showed them in the hotel lobby, standing close, his hand on her lower back. The third photo was taken through a gap in the hotel room curtains. Trevor could see them kissing. He flipped through the rest quickly. There were timestamps on everything. Dates, times, locations, a complete timeline of Rachel's affair. Who is he? Trevor asked, his voice flat. I ran his plates. His name is Dominic Hayes. He's a regional manager for the same pharmaceutical company your wife works for. Married, 2 kids, lives in Westbrook. Trevor closed the folder. His wife doesn't know. Not unless someone tells her. Give me her contact information. Frank raised an eyebrow, but didn't argue. He wrote down a phone number and email address on a piece of paper and slid it across the desk. What else do you need from me? Frank asked. Can you compile everything into a report? Something I can give to my lawyer. Already done. I'll email it to you this afternoon. Trevor thanked him, paid the final balance, and left. He sat in his car for a long time before driving home. He didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just sat there, holding the folder, feeling the weight of what came next. That evening, Trevor contacted a divorce attorney named Catherine Morrison. She had a reputation for being thorough and aggressive. Exactly what he needed. He met with her the next day, bringing the full investigation report. Catherine reviewed everything carefully, making notes as she read. "This is very thorough," she said. "With this evidence, we can move quickly. She won't have much room to negotiate. I want a house. I want my retirement accounts protected. I don't want to pay alimony. Given the infidelity and the documented evidence, we have a strong position. I'll draft the papers today. We can file by end of week." "Good. One question," Catherine said. "Are you going to tell her before she's served, or let the papers be a surprise?" Trevor thought about all the lies, all the secret meetings, all the times Rachel had kissed him goodbye before meeting Dominic at a hotel. Let it be a surprise. That Friday, the papers were filed. Rachel would be served the following Monday at her office. Trevor spent the weekend acting completely normal. They went out to dinner Saturday night, watched a movie Sunday afternoon. Rachel seemed happy, relaxed, completely unaware that her world was about to implode. Monday morning, she left for work at her usual time. Trevor waited until noon, then made a phone call. "Mrs. Hayes, you don't know me, but my name is Trevor Mitchell. I have some information about your husband that I think you should know." The conversation lasted 20 minutes. By the end of it, Mrs. Hayes was crying, but she thanked him for telling her. "I suspected," she said, her voice breaking, "but I kept telling myself I was paranoid. Thank you for giving me the truth." At 2:30 p.m., Trevor's phone rang. It was Rachel, and she was screaming. "What the fuck did you do? I just got served with divorce papers in my office. In front of everyone. I filed for divorce," Trevor said calmly. "Did you think I wouldn't find out?" There was silence on the other end. "Find out what?" she finally said, her voice suddenly small. "About Dominic. About the hotels. About the burner phone. About everything." More silence. "How long have you known?" she whispered. "Long enough. I hired a private investigator. I have photos, Rachel. Videos. Text messages. Everything." He heard her breath catch. "Trevor, please. Let me explain. It's not what you think. I don't want an explanation. I want a divorce. My lawyer will be in touch with yours. You can't do this. We can fix this. I'll end things with Dominic right now. Please. It's already done. Sign the papers or don't. But either way, we're finished." Trevor. He hung up. His phone rang immediately. He declined the call. It rang again. He turned it off. 20 minutes later, there was pounding on the front door. Trevor looked through the window and saw Rachel's car in the driveway. He didn't open the door. "Trevor, open the door. We need to talk." He went upstairs to the spare bedroom where he'd been sleeping for the past 3 nights and closed the door. Eventually, the pounding stopped. He heard her car start, heard her drive away. His phone stayed off for the rest of the day. The next morning, Trevor received an email from Catherine. "Her attorney contacted me. She wants to negotiate. She's offering to settle quickly if you agree to certain terms. Call me when you can." Trevor called immediately. "What's she asking for?" he said. "She wants half the house value, half your retirement contributions during the marriage, and her car. She's waiving alimony." "What about Dominic?" "Apparently his wife filed for divorce yesterday too. Rachel's afraid this is going to affect her job if it becomes public knowledge. She wants this done quietly and quickly. Tell her I'll agree on one condition. She signs a non-disclosure agreement. She doesn't talk about the divorce, doesn't badmouth me, doesn't try to spin this as anything other than what it was. I'll draw it up." 2 weeks later, Rachel signed everything. The house would be sold, proceeds split evenly, retirement accounts divided according to law. She kept her car, he kept his. No alimony either direction. The NDA was ironclad. She couldn't talk about the affair, the divorce, or anything related to Trevor without facing financial penalties. It was done. Trevor didn't see Rachel again after the day she was served. They communicated only through lawyers. When she came to collect her belongings from the house, Trevor made sure he wasn't there. He heard through mutual friends that she and Dominic tried to make a relationship work after their respective divorces, but it fell apart within 3 months. Apparently the affair was exciting, but the reality of being together openly wasn't. Trevor didn't care. She was part of a past he was actively leaving behind. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, Trevor met someone at a work conference. Her name was Lauren, and she was a marketing director for a tech company. They started talking during a boring keynote speech and didn't stop for 3 hours. Their first date was coffee that turned into dinner that turned into walking around downtown until midnight just talking. Lauren was direct, honest, uncomplicated. When Trevor told her about his divorce, about finding the burner phone and hiring the investigator, she didn't judge. "You did what you had to do," she said simply. "And you didn't let her make you the bad guy. That takes strength." A year after his divorce, Trevor and Lauren moved in together. The house he bought was smaller than the one he'd shared with Rachel, but it felt bigger somehow. Lighter, like it had space to breathe. 2 years after his divorce, Trevor proposed to Lauren on a hiking trail they both loved. She said yes before he even finished asking. They got married in a small ceremony with close friends and family. Trevor's brother was his best man. During the reception, his brother pulled him aside. "You know what I'm proud of?" his brother said. "You didn't let what Rachel did turn you bitter. You didn't close yourself off. You found someone better, and you let yourself be happy." Trevor looked across the room at Lauren, who was laughing with her mother, her face bright with joy. "I learned something from all of it," Trevor said. "When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Rachel showed me she was willing to lie and cheat and plan a whole secret life. So I believed her and I left. And now I'm with someone who doesn't need a burner phone, because she doesn't have anything to hide." 3 years after finding that receipt in the grocery bag, Trevor ran into Rachel at a restaurant. She was alone, sitting at the bar nursing a glass of wine, looking at her phone. She saw him first. Her face went pale. "Trevor," she said quietly. "Rachel, how are you?" "I'm okay." "You?" "I'm good. Really good." She looked at him, and he saw something in her eyes. Regret, maybe, or just sadness at what she'd thrown away. "I heard you got remarried," she said. "I did. Last year. Congratulations." "Thank you." There was a long pause. Then Rachel said, "I'm sorry. For everything. I know I said it before, but I don't think I really meant it then. Now I do. You deserved better than what I did." Trevor considered her words. For a long time, he'd been angry, then indifferent. Now, he just felt a distant kind of sympathy. "I hope you find what you're looking for," he said honestly. "I think I already lost it," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. Trevor didn't know what to say to that, so he just nodded. "Take care of yourself, Rachel." He walked back to his table where Lauren was waiting. She looked up and smiled, and in that smile, Trevor saw his future. Clear, honest, uncomplicated. Everything Rachel's burner phone had destroyed, Lauren's honesty had rebuilt. And that was the real victory. Not exposing Rachel. Not winning the divorce. Not even finding happiness again. The real victory was learning to recognize the difference between someone who hides and someone who opens up. Between secrets and transparency. Between a burner phone and a life lived openly. Rachel had bought a burner phone to hide her betrayal. Trevor had bought a private investigator to find the truth. And the truth had set him free.